All right, what is going on, Ranger fans and hockey fans? Welcome to a playoff edition of the 407 Rangers. I'm your host, Raymond Tapia. So tonight we have a special edition. We're gonna have a playoff bracket predictions, give you guys like hints and clues of who I feel like can actually advance to the second round from the first round. Because I would do like pretty much who could win it all the way, but I feel like it would make more sense if you just go round by round because I feel like it'll be too soon to conclude who can get all the way further into the postseason because we still have to see how each team from each series plays out throughout the series so we can get more of an idea of who can go to the Stanley Cup because you never know. You literally never know with some of these teams. Even though I have an idea of a couple of teams I feel like can make a deep run, you still never know. So let's go ahead and get started with the bracket projections. So as y'all know, the St. Louis Blues and the Winnipeg Jets will be facing off each other in the first round. And honestly, the Winnipeg Jets definitely are going to have the most pressure on them due to them being the President's Trophy winning team this season. And of course, Connor Hellebuck more than likely getting a Vezina trophy once again. So this team is actually a little different this year. I can honestly say that they have the possibility of advancing out of the first round because we all know Winnipeg has this interesting thing where they look great in the regular season, but when it comes postseason, like they're not the same team. So, but I feel like that can definitely change for them because the way they've been playing, especially with Kyle Connor and Iafallo and Pionk and everybody else from Gustafsson to Connor Hellebuck doing his part, and of course with the addition of Brandon Tanev, you can't help but think like this team is actually going to be good, and Lucien and Neil Pionk as well. So I would definitely watch out for the Winnipeg Jets because they're definitely going to have all eyes on them. So the Winnipeg Jets can pull it off. However, I am not going to count the St. Louis Blues out as well because this team has been absolutely going crazy at the second half of the season. So the way the St. Louis Blues have been playing is going to be an interesting lineup to see as well because, like I said, with Binnington behind the net, now that he's back into the postseason, you might just get like a 2019 version of him. Even though it's been a little while since they've been to the playoffs, you still can't count the St. Louis Blues out. I mean, hell, I truly believe they can go 7 games with this team and maybe pull a shocking upset against the Winnipeg Jets. And of course, you have guys like Jake Neighbors, Robert Thomas, Pavel Buchanan, and Jordan Kyrou, Braden Schneen, and freaking Zach Bolduc, and guys like that. And of course, with their defense with Cam Fowler and Colton Parayko and Justin Falk and Philip Broberg and Ryan Suter, those guys are going to definitely be kind of a tough. They have a pretty good power play unit as well in a second power play and penalty killing team as well. So the Blues can definitely like score more than the Jets, but the biggest factor for the Winnipeg Jets would have to be they're going to probably be a little more better than the Blues defensively. So that's where the Winnipeg Jets can have the upper hand. The only advantage the Blues will probably have is they have a little more scoring offensive firepower, but the Winnipeg Jets are still way more stacked than the St. Louis Blues. So I do see the Jets beating the St. Louis Blues in Game 6. That's my prediction for that round. Now, let's get to the most interesting round because this round, the way this was supposed to be a Western Conference Finals round, if you ask me. So we got the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars. Now, this one's going to be an interesting matchup because we both know these two can be really good Stanley Cup contending teams. Even though the Dallas Stars have a couple of more like injuries and they're a little banged up, I'm not going to sit here and lie. If Dallas wasn't banged up, they definitely would have been a team you can put to predict to win the Stanley Cup this year because Dallas has definitely been on a roll. And ever since they acquired Mikko Rantanen, like this team has definitely gotten better. And I can see guys like Gronlund, Hintz, and freaking Segun and Duchesne, and like I said, White Johnson, Rantanen. Now, Jamie Benn, he could probably do something as well. Apparently, Jason Robertson is injured, so they might not even be able to get him in the first round. So there's no telling. And obviously, with the defense, you're going to have Lindell and Cece and Harley and Leibnick-Chuskin and those guys. And Jake Ottinger obviously is going to be behind the net goaltending. But Dallas is going to definitely have a run for their money because I truly believe like Colorado Avalanche has enough of a roster to make it all the way to the Stanley Cup this year. The way the lineup is set up, it seems like they're going to be moving like they did in 2022. And you guys know how they turned out for that year. So the way Colorado's going about it, they can definitely do it because Lakonen, McKinnon, and Natchez and Brock Nelson has been a really good addition for the team. So they got way better with that as well. And you have Nichushkin back too because he was not in the lineup last year with the Colorado Avalanche in the playoffs. So now that you got Nichushkin back and you still got Charlie Coyle and Jack Drury and Logan O'Connor and all those other guys. And of course you have Devin Tays and Cale Makar. Ryan Lindgren will actually probably be a good addition as well. Now, Mackenzie Blackwood is going to most likely be the goaltender for the Colorado Avalanche. It all depends. I doubt Scott Wedgwood will be their starting goalie for that one, but I do have Colorado Avalanche winning Game 7 against the Dallas Stars because I could definitely see this being a back-and-forth series, and they're both really good teams. It's just the only difference with Colorado is they're just a little more healthier than Dallas, but I'm not going to count Dallas out because they can actually pull an upset and possibly beat the Colorado Avalanche. So I got Colorado in Game 7 against the Stars, so it could be back and forth with those two teams. Now, we also have the Minnesota Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, obviously, the Vegas Golden Knights have way more experience than the Minnesota Wild. However, I'm not going to count out the Minnesota Wild this year because they can quite possibly be a team to watch out for as well. I feel like they could definitely pull upsets. They might be able to give the Vegas Golden Knights a fight for their life this season in the postseason. So you just never know. Even though we know they've been banged up all season long, the Wild can still make something happen. I could see them making something happen. So, but the Vegas Golden Knights, I truly think they are a really good stacked team too. Like, they can quite possibly make a deep playoff run this year as well. And of course, you have Kaprizov, Joel Eriksson, and Matt Boldy, and Frederick Gaudreau, Zuccarello, Nyquist, and Rossi, and all those guys. And freaking Brock Faber and Broden. And there ain't no telling who's going to goaltend either for the Minnesota Wild. I think they're going to have Flip Gustafson goaltending because that was Marc-Andre Fleury's last regular game. So it's going to be interesting how they do that, but the Vegas Golden Knights can definitely beat the Minnesota Wild. The way they play, I mean, I can definitely see the Golden Knights beating the Minnesota Wild going 5 games, only because Minnesota has not been to the playoffs in a long time. And the Vegas Golden Knights, they barely, I don't even think they missed the playoffs like that, to be honest. So they're going to be a tough team to beat for Minnesota because they've already been in the playoffs too many times. They know what they have to do. They know their assignment. And last year, they almost got to the Stanley Cup. Everybody forgets that the only reason why they lost is because they had a couple of injuries last year. And they could have beaten Dallas in Game 7, but Dallas pulled the upset on that one. So, but as far as Vegas, yeah, I wouldn't count them out. I would definitely consider them a team to watch out for because they're stacked as well. They have Jack Eichel and Brett Howden and William Karlsson, Roddy Smith back into the lineup, and then you have Nicholas Roy, Ron Berg, and Victor Alfredsson as well. So they have a pretty stacked roster, man. Brady McNabb's pretty tough. And of course, Shea Theodore and guys like that. And as far as the goaltending, it's not too shabby either. So with Vegas Golden Knights, there's no telling if they're going to put some Sam Malsbach or Schmid behind the net. But I feel like Schmid will probably get the goaltending position for that series. But I see the Vegas Golden Knights definitely beating Minnesota 5 games, maybe 6, maybe, but Vegas in 5 if you ask me for this round. And now you got this one right here, the Edmonton Oilers versus the Los Angeles Kings. Now this is going to be an interesting round right here because the Edmonton Oilers definitely have something to prove this year, especially after losing 7 games to the Florida Panthers last year in dramatic fashion. So watch out for Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. However, I'm not going to count out the Kings this year because they're definitely going to be tough. They're going to be a tough defensive team. The only thing I see Edmonton having the upper hand is they can have a lot more scoring happening obviously with guys like Leon Draisaitl, McDavid, and Zach Hyman and Ekholm and guys like that. But you guys know they're going to definitely use everyone. They're going to use Hyman, McDavid, Draisaitl, Ekholm, Bouchard, and Nugent Hopkins, and Adam Henrique, and all those guys. Now, the goaltending position is going to be an interesting one for Edmonton because Stuart Skinner is still kind of banged up. So there's no telling what kind of lineup they can do for the goaltending because if Stuart Skinner's hurt, that can definitely give the Kings somewhat of an advantage. So I definitely can see the Los Angeles Kings maybe shocking the Oilers just because of the goaltending issue. So as far as Edmonton, the lineup is still okay. They can definitely pull it off. So they're going to be definitely really tough to beat as far as Edmonton. Now, even though the Los Angeles Kings are good defensively, they can't score like the Edmonton Oilers do. So I feel like that's where Edmonton's going to be the upper hand right here. However, LA has good enough defense to possibly make this round go 6-7 games. So with their lineup, they can definitely do something crazy because with guys like Kopitar, Kempe, and Fogo, and Tuquette, and Fiala, and of course Byfield, they could do something. And Alex Lafreniere, he's pretty good too. So Darcy Kemper's going to most likely be their goaltender for the series. But I definitely could see Edmonton beating the Los Angeles Kings. I got Edmonton in 6. They could go 7, but realistically, with how Edmonton's going and what kind of push they might bring for the playoffs, I could see them beating the Los Angeles Kings in 6 games. So you got Edmonton in 6. So that's my prediction for that round as far as the Edmonton Oilers and Los Angeles Kings. So let's go on to the next lineup right here for the East. So you have the Battle of Ontario, which this one is going to be an interesting battle because they haven't played against each other in the playoffs since 2004. So this is practically like a 21-year drought for these two facing each other in the playoffs. But obviously, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they definitely do look a whole lot different this year. And the Senators, they definitely look decent this year too. However, the only reason why I can see the Maple Leafs having the upper hand is because they've been to the playoffs way more. Ottawa can give a great push for the series because I know they're going to be younger and they're going to be hungrier and they're going to be a pretty physical team. And of course, guys like Brady Tkachuk, Stutzel, and Giroir, and Perron, and Cousins, and Batherson, and guys like that, Sanderson, Zub, and the Linus Ullmark's going to most likely be goaltending. But with the Toronto Maple Leafs, they have a pretty deep roster as well, man. The front office did a great job at the trade deadline adjusting the lineup to get them better for the playoffs. So the Maple Leafs can definitely be a different team this year. Like, hell, I could see them possibly going past the second round if they do it accordingly and they do it correct. But with Austin Matthews, nice, Mitch Marner, Nylander, Robertson, and McCabe, and Tanev, And Carlo has definitely been a good lineup addition for the Maple Leafs as well. Ekman Larson, if he comes back, that's going to definitely be a huge help for the Maple Leafs. Anthony Stolarz has definitely been great for the Maple Leafs goaltending. And that's a goaltender I would definitely watch out for because, like I told y'all all year long, don't sleep on the Maple Leafs. And I feel like if Anthony Stolarz has a spectacular season behind the net in the playoffs, this team can quite possibly pull an upset and actually go further into the third round if they all do it accordingly. So with Toronto, they have a little bit of everything. They're going to be gritty. They're going to be a little physical. They have a little offense. They're pretty good defensively. So I have Toronto beating the Senators in game 7. So this series can go 7 games for sure. Absolutely, because the way these two guys play, the way these teams play each other, they're definitely going to be fun to watch with that rivalry. And of course, this one right here, the Battle of Florida, this one to me is going to be the most interesting matchup because both of these teams are just particularly good. And it's really, really tough for me to sit here and pick which Florida team out of this series can win out of that. Because, like I said, they're both balanced. Florida did the right moves as far as the trading deadlines and acquiring Brad Marchand. And also Tampa Bay as well, because they did moves of themselves. They got Yanni Gordon and Bjornstam and things like that. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. And you have Nikhil Kurichov. He's been freaking doing good. And Braden Point, he's been playing great for the Lightning. Jay Gunsel. And Ryan McDonough, man, I miss him so much with the Rangers, but we're not talking about the Rangers. We're talking about the Lightning. And Ryan McDonough has been good since he's been back into the lineup. So as far as the Tampa Bay Lightning, that team can definitely beat the Panthers due to the fact that they're going to be more healthier than the freaking Florida Panthers. Because you guys got to remember, the Panthers didn't have Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Bennett for a little while and Ekblad, so it's going to be tough for them to even compete with the Lightning because of that alone, because Lightning are still going to be fresh, warmed up, and pumped and ready to go with all their guys, and they barely missed a beat. So I got Tampa Bay beating the Panthers in Game 7. And Vasilevsky as well. I think Andre Vasilevsky is going to definitely probably outperform Bobrovsky in this matchup because this isn't the same team from last year. I don't see the Florida Panthers sweeping the Lightning. Absolutely not. And you guys, this is going to be the most anticipated series to watch out of all of them right now in this first round because this is going to be must-watch TV as far as the Panthers and Lightning matchup. That round is going to be very gritty and a dogfight. So you guys be on the watch out. And this city right here is going to probably be highly anticipated for that matchup as well. But like I said, you guys, I got Tampa Bay Lightning going to 7 games, beating the Panthers in Game 7. Now, this is where I'm going to switch it up and not make it feel like a back and forth kind of series because now we have the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals. As y'all know, the Washington Capitals have the top 4 lines in the NHL. So as far as Washington, that team is going to be very tough to beat because they just been going crazy this year. They have an absolutely balanced lineup. They have a little bit of everything. They have defense, they have physicality, they have good offensive firepower. And of course, you have Alex Ovechkin. He's just been having a great season. He broke Wayne Gretzky's record for the most goals in the NHL. So Ovechkin's gonna definitely try to get into the groove. He's going to look nothing like last year, 100%. Because last year, they got swept by the Rangers, but this is a much more different Capitals team. Like, they definitely aren't getting swept. Not this year. With guys like Ovechkin and Strome and Believer and Luke Dubois, Tom Wilson, Leonard, like, the lineup's ridiculous. They have so many good players, and now they're saying that Logan Thompson might actually be back into the lineup, so he's been day-to-day, so he's going to be goaltending for them apparently, not Charlie Lindgren, so we'll see how that turns out. But the Montreal Canadiens can definitely give the Washington Capitals a good fight, 100%. I feel like they're going to most likely let the Capitals know, hey, we just got here, but we're not going to be that easy to beat. I mean, everybody keeps saying they won't last even 5 games or 4 games, but the Canadians, they've been the most surprising team this year. I would not count them out fully. I feel like they're going to at least give the Capitals a little bit of a fight. So I wouldn't necessarily count them out just yet due to the fact that they're young as well. So they're going to have a lot more firepower with the younger core. And obviously, you know, Cole Caulfield, Lane Hudson, Nick Suzuki, guys like that are going to be definitely turning it up a notch in the series. But I got the Capitals beating the Montreal Canadiens in Game 5. Maybe 6 games if the Canadiens want to push for another win. But realistically, I got Capitals in 5. Capitals will definitely beat them in Game 5. Now, last but not least, this is going to probably be the most easiest prediction for me for both teams that I truly don't like. But on this one, I'm just going to be rooting for the Canes just because I literally hate the Devils a lot more. So with the Canes, I'm just going to get straight to it. They're going to sweep this team. Hands down. Devils, even though the ESPN says they have no injuries, they don't have the kind of lineup like the Hurricanes do. Because the Hurricanes, they are definitely, they look different this year than they did last year, even though they had the same thing where they looked great, looked like they were going to win the President's Trophy, but the Rangers knocked them out into the second round. However, this is a much more different situation for the Carolina Hurricanes due to the fact that they have a little better of a roster this year. So the Hurricanes are definitely going to take their lunch, 100%. Like, there's no going back and forth with this team. Like, the Devil fans are the most hilarious fan base to me because they truly, realistically think, like, they're going to have a chance against this team. But I got Hurricanes in 4. Like, it doesn't matter if they have Jesper Bratt or Nico Heiser. You still don't have Jack Hughes. You still have a couple of banged-up injuries. And Jacob Markstrom, yeah, he'll be good, but Kochetkov behind the net's going to be absolutely, like, going crazy as well. So, Canes in 4. They're sweeping the Devils 100%. And that's all I got for you guys for the projections for this weekend's playoffs and as far as the series. Thank y'all for tuning in. I will keep you guys updated tomorrow. We'll do a special edition playoff weekend recap. Let y'all know how the games from yesterday turns out. Tomorrow. I'm sorry, guys. Let y'all know how those 2 games from each series turns out. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for reaching me to 120 subscribers. It's greatly appreciated. We're going to keep on working hard for you guys. And y'all have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the playoffs. And let's see what happens for the Stanley Cup.